Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. If you use this promo code for a discount between March 31st, 2023 and April 21st, 2023, you will automatically be entered into a sweepstakes where you could win a March of the Machine set booster box. There's also another way to enter where no purchase is necessary. See the link in the description below for full details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. Well, March of the Machine previews are done, and they are starting to impact some card prices in the secondary market. But there are other factors moving cards as well this week. We're going to talk all about it in the video. As usual, our threshold is $2. We're not going to discuss a card unless it's moving up at least $2. And if you want to know which cards are moving down at least $2 this week, we put out a series of shorts throughout the weekend, so check out those shorts for that information. But before we get into today's information, I do have a couple things I wanted to get out of the way. First, I want to say thank you to 3 viewers, Thomas Wright, TH3SH1B, and Whip. Thanks to all 3 of you for the super thanks tip that you gave for last week's video. It really helps the channel a lot. I truly appreciate it and truly appreciate all your support. And lastly, remember, there's another way you can support the channel. If you go to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, you can pre-order March of the Machine products there. They also have their sweepstakes going on where you could win a March of the Machine set booster box. Check out the link in the description below for those details. Remember, if your order's over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. Also, whenever you use the Heroes promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated. So thank you, and without any further ado, let's get into it. No standard legal spotlight again this week. People are still trying to digest the information we got from March of the Machine. However, there are some Pioneer legal cards moving up this week. Let's take a look. Fiery Emancipation. This is up $2.31 to $27.39. This is a solid commander card in many decks, and it did get more play recently in builds around a Phyrexia All-Be 1 card, Sulfim Mayhem Dominus. Now, though, there is more interest in the card since it could be a good upgrade to one of the March of the Machine commander decks, Call for Backup. And there's a good chance you might see it in fresh commander builds around one of the cards from there, Shalai and Hellar. Additionally, there is a very similar card in March of the Machine that could have some players thinking about Fiery Emancipation. That's this card here, City on Fire. As a matter of fact, on a recent video made by Tolarian Community College, the professor discussed the similarities between the two cards. That could have brought some more attention to Fiery Emancipation this week as well. Next, we have Zakama Primal Calamity from Rivals of Ixalan. This goes up $2.90 this week to $17.99. So the Hidden Strings Pioneer builds have been performing very well recently. They continue to gain momentum in the format. This is found in the sideboards of those decks. And remember, this could see more play in the future since we will be returning to Ixalan later this year in the standard set called The Lost Caverns of Ixalan. We know that Dinosaur Tribal is part of Ixalan sets, and this is a fairly popular commander, also found in the 99 of some builds there, including Gishath's Son's Avatar. Gishath, by the way, also gaining momentum thanks to some cards previewed in March of the Machine. More on that in just a moment. Nykthos Shrine to Nyx from Theros goes up $3.40 to $44.81. This is in the very popular Nykthos Ramp Pioneer build, and it's in other builds in the format too, including Selesnya Angels, which also gets a good amount of play. Additionally, you see this a lot in Commander 2, and it's been getting more play there recently in the popular Elish Norn Mother of Machines decks. Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth from Planar Chaos goes up $4.67 this week to $48.44. Pioneer, this is in Rakdos Midrange, which is another very popular build, and it's in other builds there too. In Modern, you see this in Mono Black Coffers and more. Legacy, it's in Golgari Depths and more. Plus, it's a highly played commander card in lots of builds, including Atraxa Praetor's Voice, and those decks are getting more play now, thanks to the support they received from Phyrexia All-Be 1. Last card in this section, as promised, is Gishath's Son's Avatar from Ixalan. It goes up $4.80 this week to $33.98. It is a popular commander, and in the 99 is some builds there too. This is another card that some may be thinking about because of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, but March of the Machine is bringing some strong dinosaur support right now. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. We won't spend a ton of time on these preview cards, but feel free to pause the video if you want to take a better look. First, we have 7 dinosaurs from the main set kicking around. Some of them are quite good. And then we have 3 double-sided cards that are part of the tribe as well. On the top row is the front of the card, the bottom row is the back of each of those cards. Personally, I really like Invasion of Ikoria. That's one to watch for sure. That quickly brings us to the Modern Legal Spotlight, where we look at the Modern Legal cards moving the most this week. Let's take a look. Here's a card that's been losing a lot of value recently, Ulamog the Infinite Gyre from Modern Masters 2015. It goes up $2.06 this week to $30.21. And yeah, this copy is rebounding slightly after heavy losses that began when it was reprinted in Double Masters 2022. When it comes to gameplay though, it is a solid commander card. It's in lots of builds, including Kozilek the Great Distortion. But this week it was mentioned on the Command Zone podcast as a card you might want to play in commander builds around a March of the Machine card. Let's take a look at that one. It is Dejuru and Hazaret. War Elemental is back again. This is up $2.81 this week to $7.47. Now this card got a push in Commander not too long ago because of a Phyrexia All-Will-Be-One card called All-Will-Be-One. This also did show up in some Solfim Mayhem Dominus Commander decks. Now though, there is new interest in this card as an upgrade to the Call for Backup Commander deck. This will no doubt also see play in fresh builds around a couple cards from there. One is Shalai Hellar, which we saw a moment ago, and much like One Will Be All, War Elemental combos directly with it. Another card you might want to play in those builds is the Red Terror, and we're going to see that one later too. Now the other card I was referring to from the Call for Backup deck is this one here, Bright Palm Soul Awakener, but ultimately Shalai Hellar in this case will be the better option because of the combo potential. Chalice of the Void from Modern Masters is back. It's up $2.88 this week to $61.69. This copy is rebounding after some recent losses. Still a big sideboard card in Modern, found in many builds there. In Legacy and Vintage, you not only see this in sideboards, but also main decks. It also gets some commander play. Sometimes you see this in Elish Norn Mother of Machines decks there. Soul Spike up $3.34 this week to $12.38. This has seen a tad bit of commander play in the past, but now the Modern format is pushing it. Recently, a Modern Mono Black Burn deck running 4 copies of this began performing well in MTGO. Since then, the deck has evolved into some variations. The most popular variation right now is Rakdos Burn. Regardless though, all the different types do run 4 copies of this card in the main typically. Ultimately though, we will have to see if the deck can maintain a presence in the meta, but right now the deck and this card, which is yet to be reprinted, are hot. In fact, the foil's still going up this week too. That is up $14.88 to $39.99. Next we have Hex Parasite up $3.39 to $8.89. This gets a little commander play, but now it is moving for a few reasons. The biggest one though is simply because it's going to play well with the new battle cards from March of the Machine. Hex Parasite can remove the defense counters from the battle, and when those counters are gone, you exile it and you can cast the backside of the card for no mana cost. None of them have any mana cost on the backside, so it should be easy to remember. Regardless though, I'm sure we will see Hex Parasite interact with a number of these battles in Commander. Beyond that though, there are a couple smaller reasons some might be interested in the card. Some players are thinking about using this with one of the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth reveals, Tom Bombadil, which is up on the screen now. And still others may consider using Hex Parasite as an upgrade to another March of the Machine commander deck, Growing Threat. Or it could be used in fresh builds around a card from there, Burma's Blight of Oreskos. Also, generally, there's cards in the set that support Phyrexians as a tribe, and Hex Parasite was given the Phyrexian creature type. Another card with Hex in the title, this is Vampire Hexmage. It is part of the time-shifted subset from Time Spiral Remastered. It goes up $4.14 this week to $5.77. There are 4 copies of this in Legacy Golgari Depths, and this has seen a little commander play traditionally, but the main reason the card's moving the way it is right now is because it is another one that can interact with battles. Doubling Season. Now the Ravnica City of Guilds copy is moving down this week. However, 2 copies moving up. You see them here. Double Masters is up $2.13 to $95, and Battle Bond is up $4.35 to $94.95. This is a very popular commander card in lots of builds like Atraxa Praetor's Voice, and Urtet Remnant of Memnarch, the Eternal Legendary Mirror from Phyrexia All-Will-Be-One. Overall though, whenever a new set comes out, it brings plenty of cards that play well with Doubling Season, and March of the Machine is no exception. There are tons of cards in the set and commander decks that Doubling Season will complement. We've already seen a few of them in the video, in fact. One of the big reasons the card is hot right now, though, is because it would be a good upgrade to 2 of the March of the Machine commander decks, Call for Backup and Tinker Time. And no doubt, this will see commander play in new decks around Bright Palm Soul Awakener and Shalai and Hellar from Call for Backup, as well as these cards from Tinker Time, Gimbal Gremlin Prodigy, and Rashmi and Ragavan. Additionally, we've already seen a number of cards from Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth that will play well with Doubling Season. Let's take a look at those real quick. Aragorn and Arwen Wed, which happens to also be one of the front-facing cards from the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth starter kit, the Shire, which is another card from the Lord of the Rings main set, and then you have Sam Loyal Attendant, which is from the Food and Fellowship Commander deck, that's an Abzan deck, and lastly Radagast Wizard of Wilds, that's found in the Elven Council deck, which is Simic. At the end of the day, if Doubling Season does not get another reprint soon, it may continue to climb for a while. Next is Sleeper Agent, the 10th edition copy of $2.80 to $6.34. The one from the list is up $4.78 to $6.50. This has been getting a little Commander play. It's in Blim, Comedic Genius decks, for example, but now Modern is the format moving it. It is another card found in those burn decks with Soul Spike we discussed a few moments ago. Typically, the builds run 4 copies of this in the main deck. Next, we have Dan Dan, the Chronicles copy of $3.07 to $3.70, the 5th edition copy of $3.97 to $4.95, and the Time Spiral copy from the Time Shifted subset is of $5.64 to $9.70. Now, we typically don't cover Arabian Nights cards in these videos due to their rarity and high grade, but in case you're wondering, you have the original copy of this also moving up about $11 this week. The reason this card is hot right now is because of a kitchen table format called Forgetful Fish. Players play with one shared deck of 80 cards, and traditionally the deck contains 10 copies of Dan Dan and 6 copies of Memory Lapse, but there are variations on that. In the rest of the deck, you find a number of blue tempo spells. In fact, we're going to see one of those spells later in the video. So you might be asking, why is this format hot now? Because Ristic Studies did a YouTube video this week talking about the history and explaining how to play the format. After that, TCG Player even followed up with an article about the format, which could have brought further attention to it. Overall, a lot more eyes were brought to Forgetful Fish over the course of the week. In fact, there's only one foil copy of this card. It is from Time Spiral. It's up $20 to $50. Last card in this section is Kinsbal Cavalier, the Dual Decks Knights vs. Dragons copy is up $6.20 to $10.52. The Morningtide copy is up $12.61 to $17. Now, currently, this does get some Commander play. It's in Sir Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale, for example, but now, one of the March of the Machine Commander decks is pushing it. It will be a good upgrade to Cavalry Charge, which is an Esper Knight Tribal build. Plus, I'm sure you're going to see this in new builds around a couple cards from there. Sidar Jabari of Zelfur, as well as Elenda and Azor. That brings me to our favorite part of the video, the Eternal Spotlight, our salute to all Eternal formats, but mostly Commander. Now, obviously, not all the cards in this section will be legal in all Eternal formats, but I'll tell you where they're not legal: Standard, Pioneer, and Modern. We'll begin with Humility. This is up $2.03 this week to $59.94. It is in one of the hot new Legacy builds that we have been discussing recently. It is a Jeskai Shorikai token Humility control build. Plus, you do see this in Jeskai Stoneblade builds there as well. Additionally, though, this does see play in the pre-modern format, and that format has had a bigger impact on card prices recently. And if that wasn't enough, this is in Commander decks too, including Atraxa Praetor's Voice, for example. But Legacy's really the key driver here this week. Commander's Plate from Commander Legends is up $2.04 to $25. This was actually reprinted in the Heads I Win Tells You Lose Secret Lair Commander deck, but this copy is still moving up some, as you can see. It is in many different Commander decks, but it really shines in colorless builds like Kozilek the Great Distortion, for example. Seprezan Scary is next up $2.05 to $3.45. This is found in Legacy Hull Day Echo Stompy, but now a new Legacy build is pushing it. You see this in the mana base of a Creative Technique Cascade deck that's been gaining momentum. This is another deck that's trying to break into that meta. Additionally, you do see this in a few Commander decks, including Atraxa Praetor's Voice at times. It's also in builds around a new card from Phyrexia All Be One there, Zuri Stalker of Spheres, and this does see Pauper play too, which is worth noting. Exalted Flamer of Tzeentch is next up $2.25 to $11.04. This is from the Warhammer 40k Commander deck called the Ruinous Powers. Since its release, it has seen a fair amount of Commander play in a variety of decks, and it's even getting additional play in a build around a card from Phyrexia All Be One, Ovika Enigma Goliath. But the reason it's moving this much right now is because of some March of the Machine preview cards. This could play well in Commander with a number of cards. Here's a few examples: Chandra Hope's Beacon, Urabrask, and the next part is the other side of that card, the Great Work. And all the way to the right you have Burrell and Kari Zev. However, there's also a couple cards from the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves Secret Lair that could be moving this some too. Let's take a look at those. Simon Wild Magic Sorcerer and Edgin Larcenous Lieutenist. Clouth Unrivaled Ancient is next. This is up $2.32 this week to $20.99, and we're looking at the foil copy from the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms Commander deck here. It is found in several Commander builds, and Dragon decks are popular in the format. The most played Commander for those builds is the Ur-Dragon, and that card is getting reprinted in Commander Masters. Next we have Replenish, up $2.43 to $97.22. This lost value at the end of last year, but it is recovering. Solid card in enchantment-heavy Commander builds like Sithis Harvest Hand, for example. This also sees play in pre-modern, but the key driver here is spec based on Tom Bombadil, which we saw earlier in the video, and also spec on an upcoming Commander Masters Commander deck. The one I'm referring to is an Abzan build called Enduring Enchantments. Tropical Island from Revised, up $3.49 to $564.03. Now, this is a small percentage increase, but I do think it is worth noting since the revised dual lands have just been so turbulent, and they've been that way since the 30th Anniversary Edition announcement. As far as gameplay goes, of course, they're all highly played in the formats where they're legal. Show and Tell from Urza Saga goes up $3.51 to $49.97. You're going to see this in Legacy Sneak and Show, Omnitel, and Reanimator, which are all hot right now with the addition of Atraxa Grand Unifier recently. In Vintage, it's an Oath of Druids. It also gets a little commander playing Atraxa Grand Unifier at times, for example, but Legacy again is the key driver here. I alluded to this earlier, but yes, the Red Terror is here, up $6.52 this week to $10. It is from the Warhammer 40k Tyranid Swarm Commander deck. And yes, this was another card that was pushed by All Will Be One not too long ago. It did see some additional Commander play too in some Solfim Mayhem Dominus builds, but now it's moving because it is another good upgrade to call for backup. And I have already seen this in new deck lists around Shalai and Halar from there, since it does combo directly with that card like we discussed earlier. Here's an older card yet to be reprinted, hard to find online in high grade. It is Crystal Spray. It goes up $6.68 to $13.63. Traditionally, it has seen a tad bit of commander play, but it is a card included frequently in those Forgetful Fish decks we talked about earlier. That is the reason it's hot now. The Eternal Masters copy of Mana Crypt is up $10.31 this week to $220. The Eternal Masters copy is dry online right now, but remember, Wizards just sold more Mystery Booster Convention Edition boxes in the Festival in a Box Minneapolis 2023 Secret Lair, so more copies of Mana Crypt will be circulating soon. It is found in lots of vintage builds, including Esper Tinker, and it's a big commander card in lots of decks, including Atraxa Praetor's Voice. One more revised dual land, this time it's Bayou. This goes up $15.16 to $449.99. And finally today we have City of Traders up $19.66 to $348. This is rebounding after some recent losses. It gets a lot of legacy play in several decks, including the popular Sneak and Show builds. Like I mentioned earlier, those were pushed by the addition of Atraxa Grand Unifier, but this is also in those Creative Technique Cascade builds that are gaining popularity. Additionally, it shows up in a variety of commander decks, including Elesh Norn Mother of Machines at times, but yet again, Legacy is really what's pushing the price here. Now, how much of that is because of gameplay compared to speculation? Well, hard to tell, but there's a lot of interest in some of these key Legacy cards right now for sure. Alright, that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. As always, if you're here at the end, thank you for sticking with me. I do appreciate that. Until next time, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.